Rick and Morty presents Krombopulos Michael. We start out with K. Michael waking up being told, "Good morning, Krombopulos Michael. It's a great day to be awake and killing things." I guess he recorded himself saying that, and put the recording in the alarm clock so it would wake him up with that. That's the only explanation. Then there's some dark humor, as his narration says relatably that one of his favorite things about the morning is having that first cup of coffee. And also it's the part of the day where he gets to start killing people. And he loves doing that. But I hope more than just him doing that happens for the sake of variety, because that'd be redundant and it's never good to see. He wants someone to put a tracking device on his business card, because this way people can find and hire him faster so he can kill even more. And he says confidently that if someone tries to use this card to find and kill him, he can kill them. And I can't stop smiling as he says cheerfully that if they do find and kill him, so much the better. Killing's killing after all. He's happy no matter what. It's just amusing how unrealistically cheerful he is. And of course, we see him applied to a character we know, as of course he says, "It sounds as though most of your problems would be solved if someone were to kill this Jerry." Rick says that he thinks things are fine the way things are between them. He sells him guns, and he doesn't have to wear a suit to a funeral, or help his daughter figure out when it's too soon to get an online dating profile. So this panel is pretty helpful for explaining why he doesn't simply do that to Jerry. He doesn't want to be bothered with any kind of consequences for it. Rick says that he would say something wrong and Beth would start crying. Or it'd be something else. Like he'd pick up the kind of detergent Jerry used to buy, and then all the sheets would smell like his detergent, and then he'd have to wash all the sheets again. And he thinks he doesn't have time to wash his own sheets, much less Beth's. And naturally he doesn't want Beth killed either. This is good for showing off that Rick's not as evil as he could be. We see him as the good guy for once. And I giggle at the text message he gives Rick because there's such a contrast between killing and the smile emoticons. The next thing that's interesting happens when he asks Rick if he could ever have a gun that could unkill someone so that he could kill them again. Rick says that doesn't exist. Well, he kinda invented a save and reload device for Morty in the show, so that could be possible for him in a roundabout way. He could have a cloning device repeatedly clone somebody after killing them. Then he'd do the same thing over and over again all day, but he wouldn't be a threat to anyone but that one person. So it would actually be better for everyone else if he humored him. Rick jumps and shoots his gun, the portal gun, as he says that he doesn't want to do this again while he looks serious, and I wonder why he's joining in the first place then. This shows he has some morality at least, but it's confusing. Maybe he literally just doesn't want to do something again because it'd be a waste of his time. And boring. It's amusing seeing the person who's reading his business card back to him look judgmental of him for it. He was like, "You're worried that people aren't clear on how much you enjoy killing." Then I end up giggling some more at the silly humor where we see that he did that in the playground, and the only reaction the kid had was, "You're weird, Michael." As if his hobby is something else. Then we see his teacher say, "That's enough about killing for one day in Krombopulos, Michael. This class isn't advanced placement killing. It's advanced placement killing and non-Euclidean geometry." Like, how would that class exist? No wonder he turned out this way. But he was just told off for this by another member of his species. So it's not acceptable, but it is? Apparently his parents loved him enough to humor him to the point where they put him in a school that teaches this. Either that or he threatened his parents into it. Also, we were clearly told earlier that there's a reason he has his nickname. But then he gets called that by a member of his own species as a kid. That doesn't make sense. He's from that planet too. I giggle again at seeing his paper where he just wrote the same thing over and over again. This is prime crosses the line twice humor. Where, sure, it's terrible of him, but it's also so ridiculous that it's funny. And it's meant to be. We see that someone leaves him because she thinks he doesn't love her, just the killing, while he thinks she's wrong. And then he's depressed and goes a while without doing that. And he goes to a therapist, and subverts the therapist's hope because he concludes that no, he really does just love killing. Then after he leaves the place, we see an alien run after Rick with a gun, and Rick is somehow allowed to go on a long-winded speech to Mike instead of just giving him the gun immediately because he wants him to shoot a gun. So why didn't the aliens easily kill Rick in all that time? Is this when he first met Rick? If not, then it was needlessly confusing to show the last time they were talking before this. Mike asks to keep the weapon, and Rick tells him to take credit for the whole thing. I guess we'll never learn what the context behind what Rick was doing was, which is a shame because it means he only wrote half the story. And then Rick leaves him his business card. Too bad we don't know what it says below Rick S. After he does what he usually does, where the only thing interesting is that he throws some people off something, and he kills someone who knew him, being like, "You remembered!" Then we see Rick creeped out at listening to a ton of long-winded messages from Mike, where he says, "Anyhow, I wasn't sure if it was supposed to bend time like that, or if it was just because I had overloaded the energy circuits. So just to be on the safe side, I've only been firing it behind me." Then he asks him for a lot more guns, and compliments his business card. Rick's scared at seeing a flying spaceship outside his garage and runs, and Mike cheerfully greets him from in the lab as he runs out, saying cheerfully that he killed everybody he could see with the gun he gave him, and then says innocently that he doesn't know how this works and asks if he should meet his family before he can get another one. Why would he think that? He should know that killing is disapproved of. I like seeing Rick's reaction here. Of course that happened. Maybe he's kind of regretting this. Especially since if he killed everyone he could see with it, that implies that he didn't kill people who were guaranteed to deserve it. At least with him being hired to kill people, you could make yourself feel better by assuming that all of those people were horrible, horrible jerks to the point where they got someone hired to kill them. But he meets up with him in the spaceship, saying judgmentally, "Uh-huh, sure," after he's nice enough to thank Rick and call him his best friend. He reveals he has a suitcase and compliments his weapons a lot, and Rick says this is an obviously unhinged friendship and tells him not to come to his house again. I don't know where Mike's voice is coming from in the next scene where he's saying that since Morty's not doing anything to help Rick against the aliens, if he were to kill Morty, then he and him could kill the rest more easily. How would it be more easy? It's not like Morty's being a nuisance. Where is Mike? Rick throws a weapon that freezes the aliens like an ice bomb that were after him for no explained reason, since that'd be effort. He carries Morty to the spaceship as he's dazed and passing out for no reason, and Rick is clearly creeped out by him. This is trying to make up for the episode he appeared in where Morty called Rick out on selling him weapons, because relatably, he doesn't like him either. But aside from killing Mike himself, which would mean you wouldn't get money from him anymore, Rick can't get out of the situation. He throws away the note he got and pours cereal into the milk that coincidentally just so happens to spell out Mike's catchphrase. That's impossible. It's probably the most memorable part of the story, but it's impossible. He then gets intimidated by Mike later, but all he does is give Rick a birthday cupcake, because I guess he did research on him to find out his birthday. Maybe the cereal just fell that way to spell out its catchphrase by coincidence, though it's a really unlikely coincidence. I also don't get how Mike was in Morty's room saying that he's not allowed to kill him when Morty killed him on the same day he met him in the show. So how is he alive hours later at night? Clearly this is an alternate universe version of him, because otherwise he wouldn't have been alive to tell him he was just having a dream and leave a note stupidly, which Morty could have given to Rick and gotten him in trouble. I guess when he's on the armchair with a TV remote in his hand, he's just listening to a pre-recorded message he recorded. Either that, or he's hearing something that's not real. And this scene with him in Morty's bed couldn't have taken place before the episode where Morty met him, because obviously that was when Morty first met him. So Morty wouldn't have reacted like he just met him in the show if he had actually first saw him here. And the story ends with a bookends thing, as he hates sleeping because it means he can't keep doing what he's known for. This story used both sides of Mike. It made me smile with his dark humor being explored in a creative variety of ways, showing how tons of people react to him. But by the end, it started just showing how creepy he really is, even scaring Rick by desperately wanting him to hire him. I didn't like that part of the story as much. It dragged out too long when I got it the first time I saw him. And again, the story has the risk of running his one joke trait into the ground. But I still kept finding it amusing, because it was creative with how it repeated the joke.